are providing assistance, please be aware we are recording this service and it will be posted on our YouTube page. For privacy, we do not Okay, I'm going to finish my sentence. For privacy, we do not record, post joys and concerns, and we save announcements for the end of the service. But why don't we get this whole thing going with a rollicking welcome song? Take it away.
Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you. Whoever you are, we welcome you. Wherever you come from, we welcome you. Whomever you love, we welcome you.
We greet you today as you join us in a wider search for truth and purpose. In this quest, we may encounter one another with open hearts and minds. May we okay. Rookie service leader. It just was so grabby. I couldn't not listen to it. I took it as an affirmation. Right on, sister. May we encounter one another with open hearts and minds. May we inspire each other to consider new questions and seek deeper meaning. And may we cultivate wisdom and compassion. Let all who enter this place see a welcome face, hear a kind word, and find comfort in this community. May all that we do and say here today help us to be a force for positive change in the world. For those of you who are new to us, please note that we're a diverse group with a wide variety of interests and beliefs, and therefore our services are varied in format, tone, and topic. We encourage you to attend or view several services to gain a good understanding of our congregation. If you want to start receiving our weekly email of MVUUC news, please write your contact information on the blue information card found in the pocket on each chair back. There's a box on the greeting table where you can deposit this card after the service. Please take a minute to greet your neighbors.
Hello, darling.
We are quite a chatty group, but we have time before and after for more greeting as necessary. And today, our chalice is going to be lit by Sue Drake, who in absentia joined the congregation just last week. Please join me in reading the words provided for the lighting of the chalice. This is a chalice of audacious hope, signaling our intention to listen deeply, reflect wisely, and boldly move toward our highest ideas. Now we have a story for all ages, selected and read by Tina. Yes, we do.
All right, Lisa. So hold on. So it's a parable about why it's sometimes very important for us to not use our voices and instead use our ears. So please join me in listening to Lacey Walker, Nonstop Talker. There's more coming? All right. Lacey Walker was quite the little talker. She liked to talk and talk and talk. Lacey, please stop talking and eat your lunch, chided her mom. Lacey, less talking and more listening, scolded her teacher. Lacey, please quit talking. I can't hear my movie, shouted her brother. Lacey, stop talking and brush your teeth, sighed her dad. Nothing could quiet little Lacey. She talked and talked and talked. But on one gloomy Sunday morning, all that talking caught up with her. Lacey Walker lost her voice. She tried to whisper. She tried to shout. She tried to sing, but nothing happened. Lacey moped through breakfast. However, it didn't take her nearly as long since she couldn't talk. Lacey even had time to finish her homework. I'm really on a roll this morning, she thought. Lacey moped on her walk to school. However, Lacey realized her friend Nadine told great jokes and was really funny. Odd that I never noticed that before, Lacey thought. Lacey moped all day at school. However, she finished all her work and got a gold star for listening. I've never gotten a gold star before, she thought. That night, Lacey wasn't quite so mopey. She grabbed a snack and watched a monster movie with her brother. He was right, she thought. This movie is awesome. And when her dad came upstairs, Lacey was ready for bed. Her teeth were brushed, her pajamas were on, and she was lying quietly in her bed. They even had time to read 2 extra books. The next morning, Lacey woke up feeling great. Not only could she talk again, but she could whisper, she could shout, and she could sing. This is the best day ever, Lacey declared. Lacey raced downstairs, talking the entire way. Oh my goodness, I have so much to say, Lacey said. Nadine is hilarious. Gold stars are the best. I like monster movies. But first, I'm going to eat my breakfast, Lacey said with a smile. And as Lacey quietly ate her breakfast, her family talked and she listened. Lacey Walker still liked to talk and talk and talk. But she liked to listen once in a while, too. The end.
I dedicate that book to my daughter, who's 19 and still hasn't stopped talking.
Now is the time for sharing of joys, concerns, and milestones. Tina, please stop recording at this point. I've always loved that. Selection, hymn number 112, 112. The opening words for today are, join me. I remind myself every morning, nothing I say this day will teach me anything. So if I'm going to learn, I must do it by listening. Larry King. It's your turn.
Good morning. It's nice to be here. You know, a year ago, I wasn't even here yet, and the only person in this room I knew was him. And Susan, you were the first person I listened to, but it was Zoom. So I think of Halloween as my anniversary. So how about this, though, for democracy? I mean, we're up here at the pulpit, for heaven's sake. So anyway. Today's reflection is from the article, The Gift of Deep Listening by Jesse Stern, PhD, a developmental psychologist and postdoctoral fellow at the University of Virginia, and Rachel Sampson, Master's in Psychology, an Australian-based clinical psychologist, speaker, and writer. When I was a child, I told my mother all manner of things, what I thought about the color green, the dream I had about the big volcano, my most outlandish ideas, including the plan to build a hot air balloon with my best friend to circumnavigate the globe together. Often, when something was important to me, even if it was ridiculous from an adult's perspective, she would pause whatever she was doing, we'd sit on the kitchen stools, and she would listen to what I had to say. Her presence was full and felt. Notable was what was absent. She didn't interrupt, correct, lecture, or give advice. She allowed long silences while I gathered myself. Occasionally, she took notes and gave them to me in case I wanted to think over things later. Sometimes she asked questions or reflected back on something I said, but mostly she listened. As an adult, I recognized my mother's quiet attention for what it was, a gift. It gave me a lasting capacity to trust others and to feel confident in my own voice. And it also nourished a thirst to hear others' views, a curiosity about their stories. And if I had to name what it was she was doing, I would call it deep listening. Deep listening goes by many names in many cultures, including contemplative spiritual traditions and indigenous cultures around the world. In Aboriginal Australian communities, deep listening is sometimes called dadari. Dr. Miriam Rose Ungamer Bowman, an Aboriginal writer and elder, explains, dadari is inner deep listening and quiet, still awareness. It is something like what you would call contemplation. According to Zen master Thich Nhat Hanh, deep listening is the kind of listening that can help relieve the suffering of another person. You can call it compassionate listening. You listen with only one purpose, to help him or her to empty their heart. Even if he says things that are full of wrong perceptions, full of bitterness, you are still capable of continuing to listen with compassion. Because you know that listening like that, you give that person a chance to suffer less. Central to these ways of defining deep listening is a sense of presence, inner stillness, openness, and mindful attention to what the other communicates in their body, speech, and silence. What is its value? Deep listening nourishes the recipient, the listener, and the relationship. In Western therapeutic practice, holding space for a client to share their stories and struggles, give voice to things that may have been silenced, and explore difficult emotions can be transformative, a catalyst for healing and growth. In the context of parent-child relationships, deep listening is a central component of mindful parenting because of its role in identifying and responding sensitively to children's needs. Decades of evidence shows that attuned, sensitive, and emotionally available caregiving promotes children's healthy development, secure attachment, and mental health. The founders of the Circle of Security program convey the feeling of listening deeply to one's child in a simple phrase: I am here and you are worth it. This is a powerful reminder to parents that our presence and attention can be instrumental in cultivating a child's sense of self-worth and mental health. We have only to recall the last time that we felt truly listened to in order to conjure that same sense of worthiness. Wow, my voice matters. I'm someone worth listening to. But deep listening is not just a gift for the recipient. It is also a boon for the listener. Aboriginal writer Dr. Miriam Rose Ungamer Bowman recounts that, when I experience Doddery, I am made whole again. Thich Nhat Hanh observes the benefits of deep listening for enriching and sustaining our relationships. The roots of a lasting relationship are mindfulness, deep listening, and loving speech. This wisdom is supported by evidence from research with married couples, demonstrated that when there is an absence of loving speech and responsive listening, when couples engage in criticism, contempt, stonewalling, and defensiveness, they are more likely to divorce. Deep listening, then, is an investment in our relationships, in intimacy, and understanding other people. We stand to learn so much about our children, partners, ancestors, community members, and those we perceive as other through this practice. Listening is an art, but deep listening doesn't come naturally to all of us. It may even seem counterintuitive in our culture of quick fixes and endless scrolling for fast advice. Brother Phap Hu, a Buddhist monk and an abbot of Plum Village Monastery, explains that deep listening and loving speech have always been part of our society, from spirituality to psychology to science. Yet, he says, what we see, especially today, is that to listen is such an art. When we actually have to be there to listen, a lot of people don't have that capacity because they don't have the time and they are not trained. It also goes back to our upbringing. If the parent doesn't have time to just sit there and share with the child, then they will lose this element in the family. They will lose this element in that child's upbringing. Thus, for those of us who were not listened to as children or who otherwise struggle to be present, this type of listening takes practice. So how do we practice the art of deep listening? Just as weight training helps us build and strengthen the muscles of our body, practicing deep listening builds and strengthens our capacity to listen. Every day we are presented with opportunities to practice being truly present with others and connecting their experience in a more powerful way. Here are some tips for building your deep listening muscle. 1, connect with yourself first. One of the best ways to build our capacity to listen deeply to others is to practice slowing down, turning our attention inward, and being present with our own experience, with our own thoughts, emotions, and bodily sensations. In other words, by listening deeply to ourselves and connecting with our own experience, it becomes easier to do so for others. 2, make time. Deep listening requires our time. It may be helpful to build regular, intentional time into your schedule to truly be present with people you love. For couples, this could be a once-a-week check-in in which you give each other space to discuss what is on your mind and in your heart, with an emphasis on connection over criticism. For parents, the walk or drive home from school and mealtimes may be good opportunities to check in with your child and simply be present for whatever comes up. Build a routine that works for you and your loved ones, whatever that looks like. The important thing is that we make time. 3, minimize distractions and put down your phone. Many of us have become master multitaskers, splitting our attention between multiple tasks and flicking between tabs on our screens. Deep listening can't just be another tab open. It requires our full mind and heart to show up. Even young children can tell when adults in their lives are distracted, and research shows that parents' increased distraction can take a toll on children's development. Therefore, it is important to minimize distractions during the time we devote to deep listening. This may mean putting down our phones, turning off the TV, and shutting down the computer. It may mean going someplace away from the hustle and bustle of the office or home. We don't have to sit in perfect stillness to listen deeply. Many of my favorite listening moments have transpired on walks with loved ones, but limiting distractions can help the conditions for our minds to settle and be truly present. 4, notice the urge to move away, interrupt, fix, distract, move on, and choose to come back. Mindful listening is all about paying attention and noticing, and this includes noticing when tension, anxiety, or distraction arise. Often these signal a desire to move away from being with the person and towards doing. For example, interrupting, changing the topic, or trying to fix the problem. When this tendency arises, simply notice it. Name it silently. There it is, me trying to fix this, and gently return to listening. Be gentle with yourself. Many people didn't experience deep listening in their childhood and enter adulthood with a limited capacity for listening to and being with others' emotions. We tend to fall back on the communication styles and habits that we experienced in our family of origin, even if these are unhelpful in our adult relationships. Notice when these old tendencies are present and appreciate that it takes time to learn to communicate differently. Thankfully, deep listening does not require perfection. It requires awareness and a willingness to practice coming back home to those we love again and again. Another article about deep listening makes some suggestions for increasing our capacity to set this practice. Number 1, set an intention to listen more deeply and empathetically. Write it down or share this goal with a trusted friend to keep the intention at the forefront. 2, drop everything and listen. This means no typing while listening, no texting, no watching television, no listening to podcasts, no daydreaming. The exceptions would be walking or moving and talking, which is meditative in and of itself. Be aware of your body language, as a person will not feel heard if your arms are crossed over your chest or your eyes wander around the room. If you need a moment to refocus, just tell the person, "One quick moment and I'm all yours." Take a few centering breaths and put on your listening ears. 3, be curious. We've all heard the phrase, listen more than you talk, but it's easier said than done sometimes, especially if we are triggered during conversations. Mindfulness will help with this over time. However, a simple switch in mindset to curiosity versus defensiveness can make listening more than talking a lot easier. It can help to ask open-ended questions like, "Can you tell me more about that?" Or, "What was that like for you?" Or, "I'd love to know more about that." Can you expand on your ideas, thoughts, beliefs, experiences? If it feels disingenuous at first, keep practicing. 4, let the talker finish before interjecting. This one can be hard, that's my bad one, especially when engaged in conversations about topics we hold dear. However, deep listening requires hearing a person out without judgment or expectations. If you're unsure if someone is finished talking, it's best to give some space, maybe 3 or 5 calm breaths before you chime in. It can also help to tell people you trust, "I'm working on not interrupting, so please call me out if I speak up too much or too soon." This may also inspire others to work on their listening skills. This doesn't require repressing your voice or never speaking up. Your time will come. 5, seek to understand. Repeat back what you are hearing to show you are engaged. Most of us have experienced having our words said back to us when confronting someone about a challenge at work, school, or in therapy. It's an effective way to show you're listening and that you care. It also helps avoid miscommunications that could lead a conversation down an unproductive path. For the aspiring deep listener, knowing you will repeat what you've heard is also an effective way to keep you focused. Aim to repeat at least portions of the significant points made by the other party to keep the conversation moving and keep your head in the game. As you use, we strive to recognize and honor the value of all people. It's in our principles and our core values. Our open circle discussion group's success and growth seems to indicate an appreciation of hearing others and being heard. Maybe some of the suggestions or ideas today resonated with you and may lead you to practice deeper listening. Thank you.
It's right there. Go.
No, I thought you were going to say something.
I am. I wanted to make sure I wasn't supposed to say something. Our next musical selection is hymn 131, Love Will Guide Us. Well, it's time to really give from deep within you. We pass our offertory basket. All donations are gratefully welcome. If you make automatic pledge payments, please place one of the yellow cards indicating this support in the basket. Thank you. I am a It's time for our closing words from Andrew V. Mason. read along. Sainthood emerges when you can listen to someone's tale of woe and not respond with a description of your own. And time to extinguish the chalice before we move on to announcements. So we'll ask Ms. Drake to come on up. And our words for extinguishing the chalice: now go in peace, deeply regard each other, truly listen to each other, speak what each of you must speak, be ready in any moment to disarm your own heart, and always live as if a realm of love has begun. So be it, blessed be. Now it's time for announcements. Tina, do we have any announcements on Zoom? No announcements on Zoom? Miss Lisa? Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I know, I always have announcements. Okay. One, in case you were missing it, blood drive in March, don't forget, it's coming up, sort of. My other announcement is the polls have closed. We have a paint color. The winner by majority, thank you, was purple. Thank you for those who voted. We will be painting as soon as we can arrange the painter. We have the person, but now that we have a color, we can call them and get a date set, and then it'll happen during the week, so it should not interrupt any services, hopefully. We will need volunteers the Sunday before they're coming. We're going to ask people to help empty the room, so everything in here will need to go in there. And then after they're done painting, probably the Saturday, I'm thinking, before the next service, we're going to need people to bring everything back in. So we will get you those dates as soon as we know, and I hope everyone will be willing to participate, because the more people we have, the quicker it'll go. Thank you, everyone.
Lisa, who worked with you on this project?
Colleen and Laura. Hold on.
No problem.
So Colleen and I were the leaders, I guess, if you will, of the painting voting thing. But of course, the Board of Trustees was in on it the whole time, in answer to your question. Matt reminded me that next week is the congregational meeting in order to vote on the replacement trustees for the vacancies that we have. Members are the people who can vote. So if you're a member, we do ask, please, please, please come to this meeting. It won't be long. It'll be a quick thing. We'll announce who the candidates are, and then everyone will vote. And hopefully that'll be it. So it should be pretty quick. So please plan to be here. It'll be after service. Okay, thanks. If you have questions, let me know.
Thank you. Other announcements? I know Winnie and I have an announcement and a request. Tina, what time, or Matt? And when does it happen? Right after service? Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, right after service.
So we'll just stay in place, or?
Yeah.
Or you can get such for a minute and come back.
Okay.
It'll be in here.
And we have ballots.
We'll have a way of everyone voting Friday.
Brilliant. Thank you. Winnie? Well, Winnie and I both have very, very high hopes for this survey. And, you know, to be fair, it's almost come between us 2 or 3 times, but I think it's a heck of a survey. One thing it's taught Winnie, though, is do not email me after 9 o'clock because you will not hear from me until the next day. Okay, so we have the MVUUC Sacred Spaces Survey. And really, we just felt going further with this without getting a sense of what people are really interested in could be counterproductive. I want to clarify a couple things. I know Winnie believes deeply that everybody can figure this out for themselves, but, and I have faith in this congregation too, but one of the things that our meetings in September, which we offered every Sunday for 3 weeks in a row, came up with a lot of great ideas. People had different ideas. And so we ended up finding that these tended to separate themselves into two basic categories. One, a kind of a sacred outdoor meditation space, and the other, a memorial or remembrance space. And the memorial remembrance concept involves everything from stones or bricks to remember loved ones, stones or bricks to celebrate occasions like a 50th anniversary or something, as well as the potential for cremains to be either scattered or buried in our 5 acres of prairie. And I will say something very appealing to me, but those are the things we're talking about when we say memorial remembrance. So the questions are divided between those two categories up at the top, so you'll recognize what we're asking about, and I think that's probably pretty good, right? Anything else?
If you would, fill them out before you walk out the door.
Yeah.
I'll sit back there and collect them, so if anybody needs a pen, come back. Hey, Will?
Yeah.
Will you guys be doing the survey also like next week for people who aren't here?
We'll find a way to make it available. It'd be kind of nice, actually, if we figured out how to put it online. We talked about the ethics.
I want to give my opinion.
Well, you should. Yours is important.
Do you have extras? I'll take them.
Yeah. It would be helpful if you put your name on it so that we could come back to you with questions or see. I think we feel to a certain extent that there may be people who are interested in working on a meditation kind of a thing and people who might be more interested in working on a remembrance kind of a thing. So if you have a strong preference there, it'd be good if we could figure out who you were. Everybody got a pen?
Well, can we, that kind of like a little additional time to ponder this, can we return these to you after the service?
Well, we won't say no, but we would like to hold you to that promise. Our goal is we're, still well shy of our official closing time. If you don't mind filling it out, we will take you into any time, Steve. We're going to go ahead with our closing song, and Winnie and I will be standing at one at each entrance to grab your, we will let you out. You never leave any.
Ladies and gentlemen, turn around arts, people all over the world, brothers, sisters, around the planet. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Come on now.